Hollywood directors need their asses kicked for filming this crap. Hi all, my name is Ryan and welcome to my channel What the Pop, where we discuss pop culture in general and Buffy a lot. Today I want to give my thoughts on the G.I. Joe Origins movie Snake Eyes, which just hit cinemas, and pretty much tell you why you should avoid it like the plague. So as a kid, I was a massive fan of the G.I. Joe toys. I had heaps of them and heaps of the vehicles to go with them. And my three favourite characters were Jinx, Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow. Can you see what they all have in common? Yep, I'm a massive ninja nerd. I was obsessed with ninjas from a young age. The American Ninja movie and its sequels, which despite being rated R, I watched when I was about 8. The characters from G.I. Joe, the Ninja Gaiden games, then the Ninja Turtles. In the Pirates vs. Ninjas debate, I was very much Team Ninja. So Storm Shadow, Snake Eyes and Jinx all formed a huge part of my childhood. So much so that even when I got over my G.I. Joe phase and got rid of them all, I still had those three characters for quite a while. They were the three Joes I kept. And them, combined with the Ninja Turtles, Psylocke from the X-Men and Street Fighter, were a huge influence on me getting into martial arts. And the reason I now own an armory of martial arts weapons. So in this review, I'm coming from the position of being a lover of two of the main characters of the movie, being Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow, and a martial artist and a lover of ninjas in general. So while the previous G.I. Joe movies were not great, the Snake Eyes, Storm Shadow and Jinx scenes were the best part of them. So how is this movie? It's bad. It's really bad. Let's talk G.I. Joe and Cobra first. If you're going into this movie expecting a G.I. Joe versus Cobra thing, you need to dump those expectations. This is a G.I. Joe Origins movie only, so it's only about how Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow come to meet, train together, and in the conclusion of the movie and small post-credit scene, get involved in the war between the Joes and Cobra. There is only the one post-credit scene, and it's after all the stylized credits. There's no need to sit through all the normal credits as well. The Joes only have a minor appearance via the character Scarlet, and Cobra are only represented by the Baroness and some minor characters. So this is mainly about the Arashikage clan, of which Tomi Arashikage, played by Andrew Koji, is the heir. For those that are unaware, in Japanese, Arashi means storm and Kage means shadow, so when Tomi adopts the name Storm Shadow, it's simply the English translation of his clan name. I thought I'd explain that here because I don't remember them explaining it in the movie, so why he would choose that name isn't obvious to non-Japanese speakers. In terms of the plot, I won't say much about it except that the previews don't give away any of the plot twists that happen. I was generally surprised by the initial plot twist and some of the things that happened after it because, and this is a major spoiler, so if you don't want to hear it, hit mute until that says spoiler over. Snake Eyes is pretty much the villain of this movie. How close does it stick to the rest of G.I. Joe canon? Well, my knowledge of G.I. Joe canon is mostly limited to toys. I never watched the cartoons and I've only read a few of the comics. So my canon knowledge is limited to the file cards that were printed on the back of the toys and the previous movies. What I can say though for certain is that casting Henry Golding is obviously a massive change to the canon, as Snake Eyes was a blonde Caucasian in the comics and they've changed his origin completely compared to what's depicted on the toy's file card. He's no longer a soldier and never was in this origin story. In the comics I believe that he and Scarlet were in a military unit together, they got bombed and he bore the brunt of it, and that's why he wore the mask and didn't speak. Nothing like that happens and Henry Golding speaks through the entire movie. There is no real reason that he adopts the full face mask from the toys. Now there is a fair amount of mysticism in this movie, and I don't know if that was ever a part of the comics, but I don't remember it ever being part of the toys. From what I remember, the characters' abilities in the toys always seem to be a combination of skill, technology and science. There never seemed to be this complete fantasy element to it all. So I feel like that's at complete odds with the G.I. Joe franchise. So if you don't want any mysticism in your Joes, then you may be quite annoyed at it here. Now we're not talking any Naruto type Jutsu shadow clone fireball stuff here, but mysticism plays a major part in the third act, and I really wish it hadn't. Personally, I kind of always expect a degree of mysticism around ninjas, but what they did here just doesn't fit the G.I. Joe brand. And I suppose my major issue with the story is that this is no longer a G.I. Joe Snake Eyes origin movie. They've made up something else completely and just slapped that name on it. Let's talk what's good about the movie though, and that's the actors. This is a great movie for Asian representation in Hollywood. All the main Asian cast here are excellent in this movie. Henry Golding as Snake Eyes and Andrew Koji as Storm Shadow carry this movie. I had my doubts about Henry Golding being an action star because I'd only seen him in Crazy Rich Asians and Last Christmas and his supporting role in A Simple Favor. So I saw him more as a rom-com star and never pictured him as an action hero. I know he did a Guy Ritchie movie, but I haven't seen it. But he does sell this and is good in what you can see of him in the action scenes. And I'll talk about how bad those are shortly. My only quibble with him is that Henry Golding's natural voice has a very proper English accent, and that creeps in here, which is at odds with the character being American. Andrew Koji is a revelation for me here. I've never seen him in anything before, and he was great, both his acting and his action. It's clear to me that he's an actual martial artist and not just an actor faking his way through it. So if I'm wrong about that, he's very convincing. In terms of the supporting cast, most of them are really good, and for me personally, it's awesome to see Iko Uwais getting work in the West. His fight scenes in the Raid movies are still some of the best fight scenes put on film, and perhaps he should have convinced the guys who did those movies to do the fight scenes here. He is only a side character here though, so don't expect to see him front and center a lot. The only actors that I thought weren't that great were Samara Weaving as Scarlet and Ursula Cabero as Baroness. I've only seen Samara Weaving in two other things, Ready or Not and the Netflix series Hollywood, and I thought she was great in both of those, but here she has a really unnatural inflection and cadence to her voice, and every time she said something I just found it really distracting. And speaking of distracting, I just did not buy Ursula Cabero as Baroness at all. Her whole performance was distracting. One of the biggest questions about this movie will be, are the fight scenes any good? And I'm sorry to say that this is typical Hollywood, badly filmed, horribly edited fight choreography. And it's a shame because Andrew Koji clearly knows what he's doing. And you have the likes of Iko Uwais in here, and the choreography itself, of what you can see of it, doesn't look that bad. The issue is that it has these standard Hollywood problems. It's choppy and quick edits, it's filmed horribly, either in way too close or with some particularly bad shaky cam. And there are moments where you think you might get an extended sequence that really demonstrates the martial arts in action, and then they change the camera angle to a completely different shot where you can't see anything. It's frustrating as hell that these garbage fight scenes continue to be an issue in Hollywood productions. Hollywood directors, if you don't know how to shoot a decent fight scene, hire a team who does, because you're ruining your movies. And we are sick of it. Shaky camera work is actually a big issue in this movie overall, not just in the action sequences. There are some talking and walking scenes where the camera is bouncing around as well. There's one in particular where Scarlet is just walking and the camera is all over the place. It looks like it was given to a crack addict to hold. Overall, it's a shame because the actors here do a phenomenal job. They're just phenomenal in a bad movie. But the issues with the action scenes just make this so frustrating because while it may not have been a good G.I. Joe Snake Eyes movie, it may have worked as a cool ninja movie. But what should have been some awesome ninja action choreography becomes a hodgepodge mess of shaky cam, close cam and quick edits. Honestly, I can't recommend this movie to anyone. G.I. Joe fans will hate it because it messes with the canon too much, and martial arts and action fans will hate it because the action scenes are filmed so badly. Wait for Shang-Chi. Hopefully Hollywood don't mess up those fight scenes. Thanks for watching. If you like what I do, please like, subscribe and click the notification bell to be notified whenever I upload a new video, or consider supporting the page through our Patreon. If you think I missed anything or have any comments, put them in the comments below and I'll see you next video.